For the heel elevated Smith machine squats, we are going to be biasing the quads a little bit more. And so here are some tips in terms of doing it. Number one, you want to place your feet about 1 to 3 inches ahead of your center of gravity. This will allow you to stay more upright and let your quads become more of a limiting factor than your back. It's about experimenting to find the exact position where you find the most comfortable. Also, when you are doing it, consider pointing your toes out a little bit so that they align with your knees. No knee discomfort is a big tick in doing quads training. Also, when you're doing this, resist the temptation to push your butt up on the ascent or when coming up and turning it into good morning. Because the whole point of this is to really work the quads, and so we want to ensure that our chest is always kept up. Instead, use the cue of pushing your chest up and maintaining upright posture throughout the entire movement. This will ensure that you are going to be targeting the quads the most. Also, when you're starting the movement, you can see that I am pushing my hips back and I am doing an anterior pelvic tilt. Pushing my hips back before I descend or go down, just by a little bit, by arcing my back and pushing my chest up, will allow me to work on the quads the most. This is not how you squat normally, but this is how we will target the quads the most. It's important that when I anterior pelvic tilt or bring my tailbone up towards the ceiling by puffing my chest up, which causes an arch in my lower back, it is important that I also lock my entire body in place by bracing my core and keeping a rigid spine. So as you can see in my setup over here, basically I get into position, I keep myself stable, I do an anterior pelvic tilt or bringing my chest up and arching my lower back. This allows me to work on my quads. I brace, I make sure that I bear down on my core to keep it tight, and then I lower the descent in a controlled manner. As you can see, at all times I'm keeping my chest up and I'm using my chest as the cue to initiate the movement from the bottom and when coming down. At no point in time should my hips be coming up first before my chest. It should be my chest leading the movement. I'm also thinking of the cue of allowing my knees to go past my toes, as we want to be really emphasize the quad stretch at the bottom and lengthen it at the bottom position. Ensure that you can, as you allow your knees to go past your toes, you keep your heels planted on the floor. So we want to drive through our heels, keep our chest up, arch our back, and brace the core. Last but not least, we want to ensure that we are controlling the movement, have a small pause at the end, and ensure we maintain technique throughout. This is not about how heavy you can put on the Smith machine squat, but instead how much we can really target and bias the quads in this movement by making it the most difficult as possible, ensuring that we maintain technique throughout the movement.